Anybody who's running for office, right, left, or center, always points out where they think America can do better, where they think America needs to go. But there's a fundamental distinction between people who think that we need to lean into and strengthen America's core values, whether it be our constitutional values, the rule of law, the principles of Western civilization, or people who think that we basically need to turn America into Venezuela.
Former Trump advisor Stephen Miller is one of the most dangerous members of the conservative movement.
Wait a minute. The fact of the matter is that people can have a legitimate difference of opinion about policies, whether we want to go one way, we want to go another. Under the Constitution that you so believe in, and I believe in, the First Amendment allows everybody to say it. We're not talking about constitutional rights. The president said that President Obama has been the most ignorant president in our history. When asked about Putin, he said, there are a lot of killers. You think our country is so innocent? That isn't, his view. That's being sharply critical of the United States.
However, when journalists actually do their job, it's easy to see how illogical Miller is.
When did racism against white people become okay? Joe Biden put white people last in line for COVID relief funds. Kamala Harris said disaster aid should go to non-white citizens first. Liberal politicians block access to medicine based on skin color. Progressive corporations, airlines, universities all openly discriminate against white Americans. Racism is always wrong. The left's anti-white bigotry must stop. We are all entitled to equal treatment under law. America First Legal paid for this ad.
America First Legal. Who runs this organization?
Joining me now, Stephen Miller, former Trump senior advisor, founder of America First Legal.
Proud white supremacist Stephen Miller, of course.
One email dated October 2015. While Miller still worked for then-Senator Jeff Sessions, he touts what he saw as the dangers of allowing hurricane victims from Mexico to come to the U.S. They will all get TPS, he writes. That's temporary protection status. He goes on to write, that needs to be the weekend's big story. TPS is everything. Then he sends then Breitbart staffer Katie McHugh an article from prominent white nationalist website VDare of the dangers of TPS. In 2018, well after Miller joined Trump's inner circle, the president ended the TPS status for several countries, including in Central America and Africa.
It is a known fact Miller aligns with white supremacists through his own emails. Thus,
I have not been interested in having public notoriety. I've been interested in having my private life and taking care of those things which are important to me. But as I say, I felt it was incumbent upon me to raise my voice, to let people know that this is a country of immigrants, and our family were immigrants. In fact, we were refugees. If my ancestors had not immigrated to the United States when they did, if they'd waited a few more years till 1924, the door would have been shut. My parents would have gone up the crematoria chimney. I wouldn't have been born, my sister wouldn't have been born, and certainly Stephen would never have existed.
But writing this so publicly criticizing your nephew, is everyone in your family on board on this?
I have a huge family. I wouldn't offer to speak for my entire family, but dozens of family members have encouraged me to push forward with this.
You don't expect to change Stephen's mind with this, do you?
No, it appears that he's made his entire political and personal career on this single issue for reasons that I don't really know.
His own family even went to great lengths to speak out against him.
The simple reality is that we no longer are in control of the central apparatus in Afghanistan to be able to vet anybody. The Taliban has all of the control of the government now. So the notion that people could just show up at a checkpoint and demand resettlement into the United States, and we could have any idea about their background, their belief system, where they come from. And now that the U.S.-backed government has fallen, it's just an impossibility.
This is brain-dead ramblings from Miller. On the contrary,
as far as I'm concerned, he personally is as complicit as the Taliban in these people's deaths. He should be held accountable for war crimes. He spent the entirety of the Trump administration purposely trying to prevent these people from coming here. I've had meetings with him and his ilk. I brought the interpreter who saved my life to some of those meetings. We met with a lady by the name of Andrea Loving. She's the deputy counsel for the House Judiciary Committee for the GOP. Janice and I were sitting in a meeting with her. She is Stephen's counterpart at the time in Congress. And we were debating about whether or not Congress should allocate more visas for these people. She then articulated what his platform was. I pointed to Janice and I said, this is a gentleman who saved my life. Maybe you've just never had a chance to meet an Afghan. And so I helped to put a face to these people's names. And they looked at me and they said, you're doing nothing but letting Islamic fundamentalist terrorists into our country, and it's our job to stop you. Wrong. These are our people. There is no us and them. There's just an us. And you know what? Stephen Miller never wore a uniform a day in his life. He's a privileged little brat.
Afghan war veteran Matt Zeller crushes Miller's rhetoric and even calls him a war criminal.
In the toxic environment that you've created here in CNN and cable news, which is a real crisis of legitimacy for your network, and we saw it, of course, with the extremely fake news you reported about the Don Jr. and WikiLeaks story. There was a huge embarrassment for your network.
Stephen.
Just like the huge embarrassment you had when you got the Comey testimony wrong.
Stephen, I'm trying to get to the issue of the president's fitness, which a lot of people are
questioning.
questioning.
I'm getting to the issue of your fitness, but the president's tweets absolutely reaffirmed the plain spoken truth. A self-made billionaire revolutionized reality TV and tapped into something magical that's happening in the hearts of this country. The people that you don't...
The president has approval rating in the 30s. I don't know what magical you're talking about.
The people that you don't connect with and understand, the people whose manufacturing jobs have left, who've been besieged by high-crime communities, and who've been affected by a policy of uncontrolled immigration, those voices, those experiences don't get covered on this network. That's why, to prove the point, I was booked to talk about the very issues I'm just describing, and you're not even asking about them because they're not interesting facts to you.
That's not true. I have plenty of questions on immigration. You've attempted to filibuster by talking about your flights with the president. I want to ask you a question because
don't be condescending, Jake.
Stephen,
Jake,
the president and the White House.
The reason why I want to talk about
the president and the White House.
The reason why I want to talk about the president's experiences, what I've seen with him traveling to meet dozens of foreign leaders, with his incredible work.
Okay, you're not answering the questions.
No,
I understand.
You have 24 hours a day of anti-Trump material. You're not going to give 3 minutes for the American people to hear.
A painful watch, which ends in this fashion.
I get it.
The real experience of Donald Trump.
There's one viewer that you care about right now, and you're being obsequious. You're being a factotum in order to please him. Okay.
No.
And I think I've wasted enough of my viewers' time.
You know who I care about?
As Republicans, lawmakers call for Attorney General Jeff Sessions to resign. In a major reversal, Democrats are now coming to his defense.
Tapper realizes Miller is just filibustering his way to please Donald Trump and brings the interview to its rightful conclusion. Thing is, this is who Miller has been all along.
Am I the only one who is sick and tired of being told to pick up my trash? And we have plenty of janitors who are paid to do it for us.
And there are the roots of this administration's terrorism of immigrants.
A bunch of kids from that high school remembered how he got booed instantly for giving that speech. It was for some student office. Nobody seems to be that clear about it, but apparently it was a known thing to a bunch of people. They started tweeting about it last February.
Right, and this in his demented little mind is that's going to be like an applause line. When even like normal self-absorbed high school students are like, you're not supposed to just be the janitors, you weird slob.
Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYTsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.